I'm not sure people understand the pain or the suffering that goes along with being a black man in this country. I'm not sure people understand what it means to stand strong in this country. I'm not sure people understand what it means to have your back against the wall. And so now it's my turn. And I really don't care what you all say about there's another black man crying or this or that or the third. Because every day I'm going to work damn hard to make sure that tomorrow's better than yesterday. And so donate, stand up, activate. Because if we do not change the country we're living in, our daughters, our sons are going to have hell to pay.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I got to tell you guys, X posts like this from black liberals and Kamala Harris supporters really tells you everything you need to know about how these people actually think about Kamala Harris. Okay, these people are not confident in her ability to speak with the media, to debate the issues, or to do anything that doesn't involve a teleprompter or a script. This woman has been giving the same speech over and over and over again for the past week, okay? And the Trump campaign, including J.D. Vance, who, by the way, I gotta give it up to J.D., right? J.D. has earned my respect, okay? He's a dog, okay? He's out there fighting the good fight, okay? I like J.D. Look at this post right here. He said, if we could convince Kamala Harris that illegal aliens are actually journalists trying to ask her questions, she'd build that border wall in 5 seconds. That's so true, right? It's very true. She is frightened, okay? She is absolutely frightened of questions, okay? She doesn't want any questions. She's allergic, right? So it seems, right? The Trump campaign, smartly, has called out the media. They basically said, listen, you guys are not doing your jobs. You're allowing her to campaign in a basement. You're not talking about the issues. And that is essentially election interference, right? That's what it is, okay? The media is trying to rig the election in favor of Kamala Harris. Trump did a press conference yesterday in which he wisely called out the media once again, called out Kamala Harris for refusing to take questions. And now all of a sudden, Kamala Harris decided to take some questions. She didn't really answer any questions, but she took some softball questions from the media. What that means is that the Kamala Harris campaign is feeling the heat, okay? They're feeling the pressure, knowing that, hey, their time may be short when it comes to being able to continue to avoid the media, because now you have the media openly asking questions about, wait, shouldn't we be doing our jobs, right? Should we be allowing Kamala Harris to continue to run away from interviews, right? Shouldn't we actually be doing our jobs as journalists, okay? And that brings me to this post right here that really blows my mind, but it tells you everything you need to know. Bakari Sellers, who's a black liberal, Kamala Harris supporter. This guy was in tears. Boo, I'm crazy. Kamala won. This is so great for black people. I don't know who has lower testosterone between him and Van Jones, okay? I'm so serious, right? Because this is the only explanation for a black, especially a black male, okay? This is the only explanation I have for males who are supporting Kamala Harris, okay? You should get your testosterone levels checked. I got mine checked a couple years ago, and I was pleasantly surprised, okay? So I'm just saying, any male that's thinking about voting for Kamala Harris, get your testosterone levels checked before you go into that voting booth. Okay, this guy, Bakari Sellers, says, the media threatening negative coverage because VP won't speak to them when she's speaking to actual voters says a lot. Wow. Incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible. So this guy is saying that the media, he works for CNN, by the way, is now threatening negative coverage. They're saying, listen, if Kamala doesn't do interviews with us, we're going to flip, right? We're going to stop providing all this positive press coverage, and we're going to actually do our jobs, right? Now, again, this guy claims that Kamala is speaking to actual vote. Kamala's not speaking to no voters, right? She's not answering any questions. She's telling them the same thing over and over and over again, okay? So with that being said, that brings me to this panel discussion on CNN. Bakari Sellers is a part of this panel discussion, and it's going to erupt because SC Cupp is going to say, yeah, Kamala Harris needs to do interviews. She needs to stop running for the media, and this guy's going to lose his mind over the idea that Kamala Harris, as a presidential candidate that nobody voted for, by the way, should actually speak with the media. It's pretty funny, but it tells you everything you need to know. These people have no confidence in her whatsoever. Even her biggest supporters do not believe in her. So without further ado, let's get into it.
She's going to take questions. We're going to make sure of that. But, you know, there's been a bit of a honeymoon period. I think she's giving Tim Walz a moment. But he did make that contrast, I think, really clear. The rest of it was such a waste of time and a wasted opportunity to talk policy to voters.
Let me just also say this. Like, don't nobody care but us about somebody taking questions. No, that is very true.
I speak to swing state voters all the time.
But
they have questions, they want answers.
No. But yes, they have questions, they want answers. But you know what doesn't have to happen? Audie doesn't have to ask those questions.
Yes, Audie does have to ask those questions.
No, she does not. Political does not.
Because when fans ask them, Bakari, when friends ask them, when surrogates ask them, they're not getting the real answer. That's why Audie needs to ask them.
This is so in the Beltway.
No, it really isn't. I'm telling you, Bakari, I speak to swing state voters every single day.
So that you can get amazing, handsome faces on CNN like me. That's the point.
Okay, that's definitely a point to pause while we do a fact check. No.
I do like that.
I may be a substitute teacher, but let's settle down, okay?
The audience with the dial.
One thing I want to say, and bring it to you, Tricia, is because you worked for Vivek Ramaswamy, I think he was very much an online candidate, right? He had such, and one of the things about...
I don't know, but I don't think that's a compliment.
It is a compliment. It is a compliment.
Yes, it was.
Because the Harris-Walz campaign is now extremely online. Yes. And so while this press conference was going on, their rapid response team was clipping every second out of it. And is there something to be said for there to be independent questioning of a candidate that can be used by anyone to have answers that he might not otherwise get in a more friendly environment?
Let me tell you what's not online. Is when you pull up at a hangar and have 50,000 people. You know what it'll look like? It'll look like Donald Trump in 2016. It'll look like Barack Obama in 2008. What's not online is when you show up and you have 20,000 people in Phoenix, Arizona. What's not online is when you're actually, you look at polls now. You look at every national poll.
But people see the clips. These things live forever. Obviously, the NABJ interview is a good example.
But what I'm just saying to you is that this campaign is not one that's just online.
But Bakari, I adore you. You know that.
Yeah,
we
rock.
But you will lose, and you're not the first person to make this argument that she doesn't need to do this. It's very inside the Beltway. This is for us. You lose credibility when you do that.
Facts. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, because he's basically saying that, well, Kamala Harris shouldn't have to do something that every single presidential candidate, in fact, if you're running for office at all, right, you have to talk to the media, right? If you're not talking to the media, then you're not running a serious campaign, right? Like, what type of campaign are you running when you're refusing to answer questions? Now, again, this guy's argument is essentially that, well, only the elites, right, inside the Beltway. What he means is that, well, this is a DC thing, right? This is an elitist thing, and only the elites want Kamala Harris to answer questions. So what are you saying about normal voters? Are you saying that normal voters who are not watching the rallies, okay, who are, not going to these events or anything like normal voters, they don't deserve to know what Kamala Harris believes on certain issues, her policy positions? This is what this guy is saying. Oh, well, that's only an elitist thing. We're only people actually worried about that. Normal voters aren't worried about that. But again, it tells you everything you need to know about how this guy thinks about normal voters. He thinks that normal voters are stupid and uninformed, and he thinks that's a good thing, right? It is good for them to be uninformed. That is what he believes, right? And this is what Democrats are campaigning on. This is what the whole Kamala Harris campaign is let's keep people as uninformed as possible, right? The more uninformed people are, the better for us, right? It's actually really messed up to think about. It really is. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not smart. But she only can get away with it if the media allows her to get away with it. This is why Bakari Sellers is having a meltdown over the media threatening to go negative on Kamala, which, by the way, just think about that. Like, it just blows your mind that in order for the media to actually cover Kamala Harris fairly, she has to duck and dodge the media so much that the media says, hey, you're ruining our credibility by not allowing us to interview you, right? So at this point, if you don't allow us to interview you, to save our credibility, we're going to actually do our jobs, right? It's just like, it's insane to think about, right? The time period that we're living in, okay? Kamala Harris running away from the media is actually forcing the media to do something they actually really don't want to do because they're trying to save their credibility. Again, it was genius, smart, very smart for the Trump campaign to, again, attack the media, right? Because I'm trying to tell you guys, the media is in bed with Kamala Harris, and they're actively trying to finagle the outcome of the election in her favor, okay? Because they should have interviewed her on day one. On day one, as soon as she became the Democrat nominee, they should have been demanding, you got to sit down and talk to us, because what the hell just happened? You guys just staged a coup against Joe Biden. How long did you know that Joe Biden was cognitively impaired and said nothing about it? Okay, and then second of all, what do you actually believe? Nobody voted for you. How is it democratic what the Democrat Party just did? Again, these are real questions that need to be asked to Kamala Harris that the media just ignored for 2 weeks straight. And what it took for them to get in line was for the Trump campaign to directly criticize the media on their own platforms and say, you guys aren't doing your jobs, in order for them to say, okay, this actually really looks bad. Our credibility is looking bad. We actually got to do our jobs. Again, bravo, right? Bravo to the Trump campaign for turning this around, okay? Because this is the most effective line of attack. The more that Kamala Harris duck and dodges, the more pressure the media will feel to actually cover her fairly, right? To actually be journalists, okay? And that's going to hurt Kamala, okay? And if she actually does start to do interviews, then at that point, hopefully there will be policy discussions where she will actually state what she believes right now, okay? Or what platform she actually has as a candidate, and then the GOP can use that as ammunition to campaign against her, okay? Because right now, it's hard to have a policy discussion when nobody knows what Kamala Harris actually believes, right? Nobody knows what she believes. So again, when you're trying to have a policy discussion with somebody who doesn't have any policies, and we're having to reference back things that she said in 2019, and we don't really know what she believes today or what her positions are today, that's a very hard conversation to have. Okay, if Kamala Harris was actually questioned on day one on what she believes in her policy positions, it would be very easy to have the policy conversation. But you can't have a policy conversation with somebody that doesn't have a policy platform. That's the problem. So yeah, Republicans have to stick to the issues and stick to presenting their own vision. But if they are going to attack Kamala Harris personally, right, if that's what you want to call it, yeah, they got to stick with this. This should be the number one thing. Yeah, she's scared. She doesn't want to talk to the media. She cannot do anything without a teleprompter. Everything is scripted. Why is she running away from the media? The media, why are you letting her run away from you? Why are you not doing your jobs? They got to stick with that. They got to hammer that every single day. They got to be hitting that every single day until she actually starts to do interviews. That's what we got to do. And the fact that one of Kamala's surrogates, this guy right here, is literally openly terrified of the media covering Kamala negatively if she doesn't do an interview. And this guy is openly advocating that she does not do interviews, saying that, well, she doesn't need to talk to the media, right? That tells you everything you need to know. They are scared. They are frightened, okay? Frightened. I'm so serious.
Because if it were someone else, you would be demanding that they sit down for questions. And you know what? It'll make her a better candidate if she does it.
But that's...
And why shouldn't she? She should answer these questions for the American people.
And she will.
But why not now?
Because why do you have to? But why do you have to? First of all, let me ask you this question. Just a fundamental question. If Kamala answers no questions today, and Donald Trump says that he had more people at a rally than Martin Luther King Jr., which one is better?
I think that is like a complete misnomer.
Why? Because that's what he said today.
Because it's a false choice.
Because he said it today.
Neither are good. Neither are good.
Exactly.
I wanted her to make the point, though. Can you admit that neither are good? Are you going to say neither are good?
It's a misnomer.
So can you admit today that Donald Trump lied about saying that?
I think that the crowd discussion is all about optics and image. Donald Trump knows image matters. He'd say that himself. The whole point of the conversation, in my opinion, is that he doesn't like that he's saying the crowd size with Kamala Harris. That's fine. Let's move on from that. Let's move on. This is the least substantive race probably in American modern history.
But that's a good point to end on.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. It is the least substantive race in history because, again, there's one side of the aisle that's not even trying to talk about policy at all, right? At all. They're not trying to talk about anything that actually matters to the American people because they don't want you to be informed. They don't want you to know what their agenda is, right? I mean, think about that, right? Take a step back and think about that. Why is it that a significant portion of this country is comfortable with a political candidate hiding from questions, refusing to have a platform? Like, it doesn't make sense. Back in the day, right, when a political candidate would launch their campaign, they would actually have enough respect for voters to let the voters know, this is what I believe. This is my policy platform. Here you go. This is where you can find what I believe in. Trump has a whole white paper on his website about Agenda 47. So you can go to his website and learn what Trump believes. You go to Kamala's website, you don't know what she believes. You don't know what policy position she has, right? You don't know anything about her. And Bakari Sellers thinks that, oh, well, that's just an elitist thing, right? It's elitist to worry about that. I'm not even sure exactly why he brought up the whole Trump thing, the Trump comparison. I don't know what he was doing with it. I think that was honestly a brain fart. I think he knew that he got absolutely destroyed when S.E. Cupp brought up the fact that, yeah, if that was anybody else, if Trump was hiding in a basement and wasn't answering questions from the media, because again, the media thrives off of Trump's press conferences and him actually engaging, right? Being out there. If he wasn't doing that, you know that you would be saying that Trump is scared. Trump is running away. Trump is ducking and dodging the media. That's exactly what he'd be saying. But Kamala Harris does that, and this dude tries to mental jujitsu his way through trying to justify a major presidential candidate that nobody voted for, not answering questions, talking about, well, she's talking to voters. She's not talking to voters. She's not taking any questions from voters. She's not taking questions from anybody, right? She's giving the same canned script over and over and over again with no policies, no substance. It's all feelings, right? That's all it is. The whole campaign is built off nothing but emotions and a bunch of bullshit that doesn't matter to the American people. And it only can work if the mainstream liberal media allows it to work. But if they continue down the path that they're on of not holding her accountable, of not doing their jobs, they're going to ruin their own credibility. They're going to ruin their own credibility. I mean, their credibility is already destroyed, right? I mean, nobody actually thinks the media is credible, but they do have some pull with, unfortunately, a significant portion of the population, enough that it does affect the outcome of elections. Again, look at what happened to Joe Biden once the media actually started to cover him fairly, when they were neutral on Joe Biden after the debate, right? When they were actually neutral, look what happened. His poll numbers tanked. They start giving Kamala Harris favorable press coverage, nothing but fawning and excitement over Kamala Harris. No questions, no negativity. Her poll numbers shot up. How in the world did she go from the most unpopular vice president ever to where she's at right now? It's nothing but the media covering and hiding for her. It is artificial. All of this, everything is artificial. Her campaign is a house of cards. Everybody knows it. And this is why she's ducking and dodging. And the Trump campaign has now found their line of attack against Kamala Harris, which is to attack the media, right? Attack the media and attack Kamala for ducking and dodging, just like she's ducking and dodging the debates, right? She's taking a lot of heat for that too, guys. She's pulling out of 2 debates with Trump. Trump said, let's do 3. Kamala said, I only can do 1, right? And I might do 1 interview with the media. I might. Again, what does that tell you? She is terrified. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if at this point Kamala was having nightmares about doing interviews with the media, okay? It's like her worst fear. I've never seen anything like this from a politician, right? From a politician. How are you so afraid of the media? At this point, I think she has a condition, okay? She has a phobia. What do you call it? Media phobia? I'm not entirely sure. You guys come up with something. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's a condition that Kamala Harris should go and see a medical professional or some type of psychologist for, because again, this is really weird, right? It is really weird how afraid Kamala is of the media or any type of adversity that she may face in an interview. It really shows you that she's lacking a lot of self-confidence. And yeah, this is not something that we should have in a leader, right? Not somebody leading the country. You can't lead the country when you are afraid of the media. How is she going to conduct herself in a room with Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping or a Kim Jong-un, right? Our adversaries, they can smell this type of weakness and fear, okay? They can smell it. And somebody like Kamala Harris showing this type of weakness and fear, again, it's just not good for the country. She cannot lead this country if she's this afraid, right, of just answering a question. Wow. Incredible stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.